Hello. So I decided that I wanted to make a video about the artwork that I did this summer. And I found these things on my laptop, which I assume came up within the recent updates, and or at least stuff I haven't used before. So I'm trying it all out, and it's been interesting. I found a voice recorder and a way to edit together photos. So I'm really excited. Bear with me as I'm figuring all this stuff out. So the first kind of art, I consider it an artistic pursuit that I did at the beginning of the summer was I learned how to paint my car. And that whole process was overseen by my dad, who has painted tractors and those kinds of things for a very, very long time. And so I was really excited to learn how to do that. It was an interesting process, especially now that I realize that my car is like 3 different shades of white. But it's fine. I just accepted it, and I love my car just the same. So the second thing that I decided to do was that I wanted to move my art desk back into my room so I could work from my desk in my room. And that it's always like an inspiring place for me. That's where I do a lot of my creative thinking is in my room. That's also kind of true at school because that's kind of my space. And I like having my own space where I can think. So I had a lot of clutter in my room and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, I'm going to clean up all this stuff so I can function, so I can make stuff, so I can do art. And that was a very good time for me of just thinking through how I'm going to arrange the room. I also made a little reading nook in the corner, and I really like the look of that space. The only problem is I'm not really using it, and I notice now that I don't really like the chair. My nephews, which I'll talk about my nephew's artwork later, I had them like doing artwork in my room and whatnot, and one of them would sit in that chair while the other one was working or whatever. And they really like that chair. So I think I'm going to leave that chair here for them because it's more closer to their size. During the process of cleaning my room, in that corner where the chair is, there was a desk. And on that desk, there was a lot of my artwork from the first semester of college, first and second semester. And I think everything from my printmaking class. Well, not everything, but a lot. So I was trying to figure out what to do with that. And I hung some stuff on my wall in my room. So you saw in the previous pictures, if you want to go back, where my desk is one of the paintings I had in a recent show. The one that's over the chair was from my printmaking class, and the 2 that are on the wall that you see here are ones from my design class my freshman year. So it's always interesting to me to look at my previous artwork, and I like how they complement the room. There's also a painting I have from an art history project that I have on the wall that complements this room very well. So it's very interesting to me that my color palette has stayed within my room and how much my color palette and the colors that I use work in this room. I recently have been thinking about repainting my room at some point, just because I want something that's a little less dark because I don't want to be in like a dark mindset. as much. I want something brighter at this time in my life, but I'm not home enough to like actually fulfill that. So at the moment, my room stays blue, and so does my color palette. The next thing that I have pictured here are some images from when I was in my grandparents' house and I was looking through some of the artwork that I did when I was younger and was over at my grandmother's house. And that was a very unique experience because my grandmother kept almost, I would say, every piece of paper I scratched with a pencil from when I was 2 years old, or not even 2 years old. I think there was one from I was a couple months old, and I might have put that picture there. But it's incredible for me to think that I have been working on artwork all of my life. And that concept is maybe hard for some people to understand because everyone like doodled when they were a child. I would think that they would take pens or pencils or whatever and just draw in circles and all these things. But even by 2 to 3 years old, I was trying to draw things. I was trying to draw people. I was trying to figure out how to draw animals. And it's some pretty funny stuff. So that was a very unique experience and also kind of connected me back to my grandmother who passed away, um, and reminded me of how far I've come in learning all these things and that she was kind of the person that where it all began. One thing that I wanted to do while I was home this summer was teach my nephews how to paint a little bit more than they already had. I wanted to teach them a little bit about mixing colors and how fun that is. And I wanted to teach them how to use a brush and the terminology for different things because they kind of had a hard time for a little bit knowing the difference between painting and drawing. So hopefully they got the names of the tools down, among which would be paint, markers, crayons, and pastels. So hopefully after a little bit of work, they learn the difference of and kind of have a general idea of how those things work and how they're different. But it was really fun, and they have some pretty unique stuff to show for it. Kind of continuing that tradition that my grandmother set up of making interesting artwork while they're still little and still learning motor function and that kind of thing. The interesting thing about my hometown is that we have a wonderful public library. And one of the things that I noticed at the beginning of the summer was that in the teens section at our local library, they had a 3D pen that you could check out and use. And I was super excited. So I decided that I would check it out at some point this summer. And I went downstairs to get something and I came back up and it was gone. Someone else had checked it out. So I recently was able to check it out for myself. I picked it up before I went downstairs. And, the downstairs has like adult books and movies and stuff, more for my age group and demographic. Anyway, and magazines are down there too, so But so I picked it up. I picked up a couple movies that I wanted to see. and I brought it home and I started using it. And the dress that you see here, I actually had my nephew Jack pick out the colors. I started out with blue. I used a Barbie doll that didn't have a head, and I covered it in tape, and then I used the three-dimensional pen, which is basically like melted plastic. And so yeah, I didn't want to get it on the doll itself, which I did not because of the tape. And I made the form, and Jack picked out the two other colors, and voila. So the other thing I tried with that pen was I made a basket and a ring. Both those things were very fun, very cool. And I'm not sure if I'm going to make anything else with it. I might take it back here pretty soon. But it is a really neat thing that our library does. My local library also offered 2 different adult events that were related to art that I attended. The first one was digital no. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's basically I made an image on the computer and I printed it out on linoleum, sticky linoleum, so I could stick it onto a tumbler, so a water bottle with a straw. It's pretty nice. So I used the poem that I recently had published for this design and for the words, and it was a really intricate design and it was a lot of work, and I kind of messed it up, and the computer broke, and it was a whole thing, but I got a nice product out of it. I got 2 different ones because the first one we didn't think we could get work because the laptop didn't work, yada yada. But it was quite an adventure, and it was really interesting to learn about that process and how that actually works. And I actually recently bought a sticker for my car that was from a similar type of process, and I still managed to have a very difficult time getting it onto my car. The second class I attended was digital drawing. That one was more recent, and the first drawing I did was kind of an idea off of a sunset here in Wisconsin, just like looking outside my own house. I had a picture on my phone of it, and I thought it was nice, so I used that as a reference picture. And then they had a still life set up at the library, so I drew that as well. And it was fun. It was interesting. I kind of loved that I could use pen over watercolor and it wouldn't smudge. I liked how the colors mixed together like they were supposed to. And that aspect of it, I think I would really like to use. But right now, that's not really in the cards. But I'm really, really grateful for the library that I get to attend and be part of their summer program. So the other art-related thing, semi-art-related thing that I did this summer was I decided that I wanted to make frushi or like candy sushi. And I got really excited about it, and I made it for my sister and my brother-in-law, and it was super duper fun and took a lot of time. But there it is, and it's absolutely beautiful. Yay! You made it through the video with all my rambling and thinking through every single piece of artwork. Well, not all of it. So I'm probably going to make another one of these videos talking a little bit more about the visual artwork that I've done, like drawings and that sort of thing. But I might make that in a separate video because this got a little long. And I know that it's easier to sit through like 10 minutes of me talking and trying to get my thoughts together than an hour. So I'll release this one, and then possibly I was thinking about going over some of the books that I've read this summer, but I'm not sure because the book I'm reading right now I'm not fully finished with, so I might skip that. But I do have a couple more movie reviews, so I possibly might do that. I don't know. I'm going to see how this video editor works and figure it out.